From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another exciting episode of Choppin It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White. He's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Cador. We all black today. As you can see, we got the notification that that's what we're wearing today. So, Coach, how you doing today?
Who sent it out?
I think it was just in the minds. We just figured.
Okay, I want to know if somebody's sending something that you're getting and I'm not getting.
Whatever it was, we both got it, Coach. You know,
Okay.
how was your week, man?
It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with the week. A lot of things going on, trying to make things happen.
You know, life of retirement, a lot of people think it's just this ride off into the sunset, but in retirement, you got to find something to do with yourself every day.
Not every day, but some days. I mean, but you need to stay active, the most active part of my thing is my mind. I do a lot of Zooming and do a lot of talking, and there are a lot of things going on that, I can play a part in, give information and experiences, and just give people confidence and hope. And that's basically what I do.
You know, as you look at retirement and you say keeping yourself going, but you talked about something big, talking about the mind, keeping the mind going for you. What are some things that you do to keep yourself going mentally?
Well, I do. I get up early and I follow the stock market. I want to know what the European market, the Asian European market did before it hits the USA. Because, I have interests there. Most people don't have that interest. So, and I get up early. Some days I'm up at 2, 3. Some days, most of the time, that time. So 4, 5 o'clock, I'm rocking and rolling. And then now the phones start calling. Either some people calling me from the East Coast or somebody out of China somewhere, Hong Kong calling. So those are the kind of things that I say East Coast, but I get calls from Latin and Central America and South America too. So they call because they know I get up early.
And even with that, aside from the mental part, the physical side, man, what are you doing to keep yourself going in retirement?
Not as much as I want to, but I have a house that allows me to walk in it. I do a lot of walking in it, which is a good thing. I can walk in it, do a lot of walking. You fool around and walk a half a mile a day walking in there.
You listen to people, and I listen to coaches all the time when they do interviews and they talk about retirement. A lot of coaches have hobbies in terms of they love to fish. A lot of coaches love to spend their time after their careers on the golf course. You know, for you, is there certain hobbies? Is there anything that people may not know about you that, you know, is something that you kind of do that, you know, keeps you going?
No hobbies, no golfing, no fishing. Even though God did come by my house and offer to take me fishing next week, probably might take him up on that. But I have no hobbies, never had hobbies.
Really?
Never had hobbies, so. And I'm good with that. A young lady asked me, you okay with it not having hobbies? I said, I'm perfectly okay with it. I said, well, this is not a rodeo that started yesterday. I mean, I've always been that way. Even before I was an athlete, I didn't have hobbies.
Well, you may find yourself in front of a TV a little bit more. What do you typically want to watch? Are you into like these series? You know, people get into the series. Some people tune into sports all the time. Some people watch the news 24/7. For you, what do you kind of watch? Is it anything out there that you're into right now?
Well, I pretty much watch the stock market. I watch the CNBC, MSNBC, CNN. Watch that. I do watch some baseball, and
You're not sitting around watching Gunsmoke and stuff like that, are you?
no Gunsmoke, no Andy Griffin, you know, all lies. I don't watch lies. Those are lies.
Oh, you ain't watching none of that
A
stuff?
bunch of lies they told.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, once I found out they lied about so much, I had no interest in it.
That's how I was about wrestling. I used to love wrestling, Coach, when I was a kid. I got older, wrestling, I had to realize it ain't what I thought it was. It was all lies, Coach.
It's a lie, bunch of lies. I mean, you know. And my whole thing was, man, I'm not going to get involved in that. What can I use it for? To lie to someone?
Yeah.
You know. But, you know, the people in Hollywood created situation.
Yeah.
All of that is makeup, you know.
You know, it was interesting when you said no hobbies. You know, as I was growing up, I did a lot of fishing. I had an opportunity. That's pretty much what I spent my time doing, on the lake, fishing, being a kid all the way through being a teenager. And I mean, I went to school initially for marine biology thinking that was going to be the research, the world that I wanted to be in. But I realized I didn't want to bring my hobby into a lifestyle, because then once a lifestyle kind of takes away from the hobby for me, because the love that I have for it. But that's interesting. No hobby. Even as a kid, there wasn't much that you didn't collect no rocks or nothing?
Nothing. I mean, what I am now is really what I was when I was growing up. Basic. I mean.
And I guess when you look at life, for some people, basic is good.
Well, it's good for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to do a lot of stuff that other people feel are important for them to do. I'm going to do what I like and what gives me satisfaction, you know. I pretty much, when I was growing up, I stayed home with Mama. I was there with Mama, you know. I was a homebody. Even though they said I was crazy, I wasn't. I knew what I wanted. It gave me a chance to concentrate on people like Marty. You know, I analyze them and watch them, you know. And so, no, it was all good. And here we are today.
I got a question with that, because you say you was at home, you know, homebody. When did you discover this, and when did people realize you had this larger-than-life personality? Because when you walk in the room, people know when Roger Cador is in the room. It's the aura, it's the voice, it's the accent. At what point, coming from small rural Louisiana, then venturing out into the world, did this personality become something that attracts everybody to you? You can't step into a room, an office here. You can't even get on the phone without somebody saying, is that Coach Roger Cador?
Well, you know, I never knew. It was probably there. Obviously, it was there, but I had no idea it was there.
Were you shy?
Yeah, very shy.
Okay.
And as I maybe told the story before, it was 1993 or 94 before I realized that I had something unique working, and it was at the that hotel, Fontainebleau Hotel,
Fontainebleau,
on Miami Beach, and I used to watch it when Jackie Gleason was there on Saturday nights, and I'm in there in the ballroom working the room. Had no idea I was working the room the way I was, and there was a gentleman watching. He and his wife, Lawrence, Ed Lawrence, and Jackie Lawrence. And they called me on the side after and said, hey, boy, he said, Jackie and I have been watching. Oh, can you work this room? Well, I had no idea I was working the room. Now I know why my wife would say, when we go there, you ain't going to be. You know, maybe I was doing it and she knew it and she would tell me, no. But I was there that night alone. She allowed me to go to this winter meeting, and I worked the room.
That was a purpose behind what you were doing, though, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it was a purpose because I needed to know people so they could help me. I couldn't get no help.
And when you say help, what are you talking about?
Well, these people knew people that had access to equipment, to things that I needed. Remember, I didn't have a lot of stuff, and I met Tommy Lasorda. Tommy Lasorda bought me 2 sets of uniforms. I mean, you know, those are the kind of things that happen. And for me to meet Lasorda, really get to him, it was a couple of guys from named Alan, wasn't one from Los Angeles. Say, man, I want to introduce you to Lasorda. He'll help you with some uniform. And Lasorda was doing a lot of commercials back then, and he needed to make donations. You got me? So that's how I got it. And I had met him when he used to come down here for do clinics in the winter for Tony John, who was an old Dodger scout. So Tommy Lasorda used to come every year.
With that purpose, you come out of your shell. I can't believe it took all the way up into the 90s. Me not knowing you in those years, it just kind of, and I think if people see you today, just feel like you've always kind of been this larger-than-life personality.
Well, I said 94, 93, 94, but I don't remember me being anything other than that. I was just a regular kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? And
because it even go back for those out there that's listening, before baseball, you were coaching basketball. And so in that realm for you, was it just kind of being meek and mild and just saying what you need to say and then going on about your business?
Pretty much that's the way I was. That was a glimpse in 1973. I'm going to make sure I'm getting this right. 1972, 73. Let's go to 71.
All right.
It was 71, I think. We played Western Kentucky, Western Kentucky Western, something like that. We go into Kentucky and play. And, you know, it's cold, icy, it's December, you know, that part of the world, cold for someone like me from down here. And there were a lot of young white girls in there at the game, and for some reason they all gravitated to me, and they were just so loving and kind, and they gravitated to me. And they were cheering for me. Every time I did something good, they'd cheer for me. So my coach, Carl Emerson, stood, said, man, you're the most popular guy in here, more popular than the home team. Look at these people cheering for you. He said, you're something. Well, maybe I had something, didn't know, and I didn't pay any attention. So there it is. But I realize now that you question me, when I played basketball, I was pretty popular, now that I think about it, because people would come and see me play. You know, they came to see me play, and they told me they were coming to see me play. And one thing about it, all of the baseball players made sure they came to the basketball game. They wanted to see me play.
You know, most players have nicknames in their heyday. Did you have a nickname in your heyday?
Not at Southern, Baby in high school, but
Okay.
I was just Cade.
Because you was just talking about the glove, you know, with Gary Payton.
Yeah, the
so
glove.
I didn't know if you had a nickname in your playing days.
Cade. Hey, Cade. That's about it.
That was about it.
Yeah.
And you look, go ahead.
I mean, I didn't deserve anything other than that. I wasn't nothing special.
Man, you so humble about yourself, man. Very much so special. You baseball, basketball, then you go out and then you coach basketball and then you coach baseball and then you become successful. But it goes back to the personality, you know, that it took a purpose in life for you to have to get out there, and maybe it was uncomfortable at first, realizing looking at a room with a lot of people that not knowing anybody and saying, all right, where do I get started? How do I go about it? And most people don't like to ask for help.
That's
so,
right.
you know, going into a room full of people and then saying, I'm asking for help, that a lot of people shy away from that, but you stepped up to the plate.
Man, I would go in when I first started and I had to go to speak. Go into a room, I would sweat profusely. I mean, on just big time sweating. Nervous, frightening. And I remember we went to, not Thibodeau, Napoleonville. They asked me to come and speak to Little League. So my wife and I drove down there, and I gave the speech. And then she critiqued me. She critiqued me and told me what I could do better, what I did wrong. And she said, if you're going to be able to do it, you got to do this better. And that's when it really started. I started really, and I don't know the year, but I started really paying more attention to it because it was important. And that's why people, you know, your spouse could be the most important person in the house or in the room.
Give you honest
opinion.
critique. Yeah.
Honest opinion. And she didn't hold back and it made me better. Plus, I could take it. It was nothing. I knew if you're gonna be good, you gotta be able to take the hard licks. All of them ain't gonna be soft. You know what I mean? You can't find all soft landing. It just doesn't happen in life. You know, so that's what happened.
Do you still get a sense of nervousness sometime if you in a room, having to look at the room and realize I got to work it a certain type of way, or get in front of a group of, because you remember one time we were at BRCC and you was like, this is the first time I talked to a room full of young ladies when talking to the softball team.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a special moment for me because now it broke new ground for me. I'm talking to all women in, you know, and thanks to you, you probably set that up. I don't know.
I did.
But it was, you know, now I do it now. I do all young men to the most part. I get to talk to. I'll be in another month or so, I'll be talking at the Hank Aaron Invitation. I'll be speaking to young men. And they got two sets of, you know, the 13 to 15 and the 16 to 18-year-old group. Those are the ones I'll be talking to. So I get to do that experience. And
any nervousness typically, or you just got it, this is what I do?
Well, you know, the thing is that I got cousins in there, relatives that's I never knew existed, and they're part of that because they're pretty good players. One is out of California, one is out of Atlanta, and they're playing and they're really good players. So I have to speak to them, and this, you know, one have heard me speak before because he called his grandmother and he heard me speak. And so I got the call from the grandmother a day later, you know, and telling me about, I did a good job. Her grandson was impressed. So now I got one I got to do. I got two. I'll do the one again from California and the one from Atlanta. So we got to do them, you know.
You know, people ask sometime, and they'll say this, oh, you more like your dad, or, oh, you more like your mom. I can see the traits of you. You're just like your dad as you got older. For you, who did you get compared to? Was it mom or dad as you got older and people started to recognize you as the man that you was becoming?
Oh, man, I really can't say. My mother was always there for me. She loved me no matter what, how awkward and clumsy I was, you know, and that's the mothers, you know. And so she was always there to protect and provide and be anything that she could help me with. You know, she kept a lot of stuff from me when people were saying I was crazy and this and that. And she cried, but she never told me they were calling me that. She knew I wasn't crazy. I think that's the biggest thing. She just knew I was different. And sometimes when you're a little different, people see you as crazy. And I was reading something about somebody just a couple of days ago. And because they were different, they said it was crazy. God, Lee, this guy is really something special now.
You know, my mom once told me when I was young, she said, Perry, when you get older, you're going to start to realize the world is a little different. And I asked, what do you mean being a young kid? She said, when you get older, you're going to realize the wise man is going to look like the fool, and the fool is going to look like the wise man.
She's right.
And I didn't realize, what the hell is she talking about? Now that I've gotten older, it makes sense to be different and to be aside from what society has portrayed for you to be. People think you're crazy.
That's right.
Yeah.
They think you're crazy. The guy who's foolish, they think is wise. You know.
Just simply for entertainment.
For entertainment, that's it.
All right, for entertainment, here we got to get ready to take a break. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Chopping Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights, gravitate towards something out of this world, even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Brack, we're more than a playground.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over, so we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador. Against all odds, Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against all odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against all odds, get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, everybody, we're back more Chopping Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and the man sitting right here, as he say, hey, to everybody out there, is Roger Cador. Coach, what's going on?
Just trying to hang in there, trying to make it through a tough day dealing with you, Perry.
It's never tough with me, man. Look, we dressed alike today. Look, it ain't tough. We coming in here and we giving the people out there that are watching a lot of energy. And, you know, we talk about energy. We were talking about in that first break this larger-than-life personality that you have and that how you light up a room. But now you finding yourself into broadcasting. You're doing television. You're doing games, and this week you'll be headed over to Birmingham to do some SWAC baseball in the SWAC baseball tournament for the entire nation to hear you analyze some baseball.
Yeah, I like it being an analyst. I'll never forget where Jeff Vernon, guy with Cox Communication, was producing some of my games. And he said, there's something about you. He said, hey, when you retire, I want to bring you in to be an analyst at Cox. And he did just so. He brought me in, and I did not only college game, I did a couple of professional games, minor league games. But, and the people out there who are older people or more mature people will remember this name, Joe Gragiola. His grandson and I worked the game together, and I told him I knew who his grandfather was. So I used to listen to him on NBC all the time, or CBS, whichever one did those games back then. But yeah, we did a good job, had really good chemistry, worked really well together. So it's good because what being an analyst does is give me a chance to dissect the game and give it to the listening audience on a plate that they can digest it and eat it and digest it. You got me? Some people try to make it too sophisticated, too difficult. I'm a simplify things and break them down, and that's what I try to do.
And I, listening to you at the tournament some years back, you said something with the guy who you were doing the broadcast with. You was just looking at something as simple as what the pitcher was doing. You said, look, this guy's trying too hard to throw the ball too fast, and the mindset everybody has to throw this fast, throw the heat. So this guy doesn't have to throw the heat. Just get it down the plate. Simple is better. You don't have to put heat behind everything. And it was just hearing something that simple while everybody else thinking just throw it as fast as you can to get the strike. You're just saying just throw the strike.
Just get it over. And we did that so many times. I did that with my players. I did it in, I had to go simplify. Don't overthrow. Just let them put it in play. We got 8 people behind you that's supporting you. Let them make plays. And you gotta give people, in the heat of the moment, you gotta tell them what is going on because you need to understand people don't think clearly when they're in competitive situation because they overcompensate and they do something that they probably can't do. You got me? And so you got to find a way to settle them down, feed them some information that they can really use and enjoy success with.
Because there's multiple ways to watch something, right?
Yes.
There's a way to watch it as the fan who looks at it just says, I want to win.
Yes.
There's a way to look at it as, like you said, from the coaching perspective of there's so much going on, I have to be locked in and focused. Then there's a way to look at it as the broadcaster where you're doing it for the fan who wants to win, but at the same time, you got to analyze the coach and what he's out there being focused in terms of critiquing and praising with his decision making. But then to simplify that for the person at home who may not know everything about sports, because what we find out about fans may not know how everything works because they just excited for their team. But to simplify it at home, to give them that insight, like, all right, as the fan, I know you're looking at this, but as a former coach, these are some things to take into consideration.
Right.
And let me simplify what that means for you at home so when you watch the game, you got a better understanding.
Exactly. You did that quite well, Perry, because that's really what it's about. My job as an analyst is to simplify things for the person at home in that nice lazy boy chair trying to enjoy the game. You make it simple for him, then he really can enjoy. He gets a cold one and he do it and say, this is good. And and the game become much more enjoyable. I've listened to some games where they don't have good announcers and analysts, and the game is bad. Baseball is difficult enough. You better have people who can really give people something that they will keep their attention span, keep them looking at the game. And if they can't see it, you better make sure they can hear it.
For you, on this side, you're living and learning, right? The same thing you had to do as a coach, as a player, and so much in life. What are you learning about being in the booth and calling the games? Just from that first time in there to, getting a little bit more seasoned.
It's the person you're working with. That's the biggest for me. The game is not a challenge. I know the game. I can see the game. I can feel where it's going. But that guy you're working with, who may not know what you know and probably don't, you got to make sure cohesiveness exists, that you can give him stuff and you don't feel so he doesn't feel threatened that you're taking away some of his thunder. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to work with him and keep everything simple for him.
I try to do that here with the show with you. You think I do a pretty good job? I try to keep things simple for you.
You do.
And for the people out there, you know, it's not easy, and that's one of the things why you have this conversation. People think it's easy to get in front of a camera with these lights being mic'd up and then to be able to have conversations about things and break it down. It's, in actuality, it's not, because it's different from having a conversation regularly without the rest of the world watching. But when you're in a booth, whether you're calling a game or like what we're doing right now, giving everybody out there a show, there's certain things that come with it that in due time you start to pick up. And for you, were there any broadcasters, even growing up and even to today, that you kind of watch, he was like, I like that guy's style on how they make the game for the listener?
Well, obviously, Howard Cosell for the entertainment part. But, you know, Joe Buck or Jack Buck, the daddy, and Vin Scully was as good as they get. And then Al Michael and give me my other man's name, Hall of Famer. Al Michaels, and then you got Bob Costas.
Bob Costas?
Yeah, those guys I've learned a lot from, you know, and, you know, because they lead. What they do, they can lead you into something. And that's what I see when they're doing game. Where are they leading this guy to? What are they trying? They're doing it for a reason, because they're trying to get something that they want to convey to the listening audience. And those guys are so good as leading that analyst down that road. It's like holding a baby's hand, making sure they don't fall. And this is the way I look at it. That's what makes it so beautiful. And if you don't have that guy next to you, he can make it a little difficult for you if you're trying to make it better for everybody.
You been in that spot before?
Yes, I have.
What is that? Is that uncomfortable? You know, because you're calling the game, you're trying to flow with it, but then at the same time, here's somebody next to you like, you're making it rough for me today.
Well, any guy was thinking that I knew a little bit too much.
Are you still in the spotlight?
Yeah. Man, I don't want to steal a puss. I'm
Roger Cador.
Well, I'm coming in after he leaves off. So I ain't trying to steal it. I'm not jumping in front of you. I'm just, you know, I just see a different angle. I see what you don't see. I mean, that's just, man, I could see play developing before they develop, I'm telling you. I used to tell my players in the dugout all the time, watch out for this. This is about to happen. You really could see it. And a guy told me once, I know why you were successful as a coach. You pay all attention to the smallest detail. Pay attention. I say you have to, because those are the ones that determine the game, not the big ones. You got me? Everybody see the big one coming. It's the little ones that you got to try and master and control and clean up and not let them be a problem for you, you know?
That's one of the things, like, you know, even watching football, you know, Tony Romo gets a lot of up and down with him. But one of the things about him is when you watch him, he's like a master at work. He will see a lineup and automatically know from film study and knowing things. He'll circle a guy and be like, you know, this seems to be the guy that they're going to right here. And what happens when the play happens? They go directly to that guy. Then he comes back and break it down what he saw so you can understand why he saw what was going to happen. And what you're saying, you basically do the same thing. You give people the build up to where don't be surprised if this does happen because I saw it coming.
Well, now in baseball, it's a little different than football because formation can tell you what probably is going to happen because they run certain formation. Baseball, you're just playing straight baseball. But that's why it comes in, you got to know the game. You got a pitcher and you got a hitter. You got a pitcher who's overpowering, going to overpower the hitter. That means he's going to be late. That's where the intricate part comes in because I could see it, what's going to happen. And if he's pitching to a particular part of side of the plate, it's telling you what's going to happen. You can't go against science. If he's throwing outside and he's overpowered, You're going to hit the ball away. Science doesn't lie. That's why Muhammad Ali was so good. He was science.
Same thing when you looking out there and you see that wind, you see that flag blowing.
Yeah.
You know what the dynamic of what's going to happen if that ball gets in the air. Either that wind can kill it or it can sail it smooth out of here.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, it's just those are the part of the game that weak hitter gonna hit the ball weakly. A guy strong got a chance to hit the ball power pull it. I mean, that's just some things that's going to happen.
So you seem to find yourself in loving this broadcasting thing. What's the most enjoyable thing for you now? We're on television, you calling games, former coach. This is your hobby. Little do you know, you found a hobby. You talking about you don't have hobbies. This is the hobby. What are you finding out about yourself now being in front of a camera?
That I can handle it.
For years, I didn't like hearing myself talk. You know, I would listen, and that came with the time, and then I realized, well, you got to listen to realize how I get better. But initially, when I first started, especially with radio, I did not like to go back and listen to myself.
I never listen to myself because I don't even know how I sound. Everybody says, oh, you have a wonderful accent. I don't even know I have an accent. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing that I don't even know that it exists. But it exists, obviously, because everybody say I have it.
Oh, you have one, and then that's the impressions. Oh, PJ, what you call me today? Michael. How you? Hey, Michael, you know. And speaking of that, Michael Jordan, somebody, you know, one of the greatest all-time in basketball, he's going to be in the booth coming up this coming NBA season to start doing games. So,
see, that was a reason.
Isn't that interesting is when, and I've been curious to hear that because even Tom Brady last year on the football side got into the booth and started doing games. Of course, he did the Super Bowl as well, but to hear now Michael Jordan, somebody that people don't hear from a lot, to be able to now analyze these games as they're happening and to critique a player or give a player praise, that should be an interesting perspective.
It should be. All great players don't make good analysts because they didn't have to do things the right way. They had so much athletic ability and they could go around the system and do it. You got me? A person like Tom Brady had to live within that system to enjoy success. So he's the perfect analyst because he can break out detail. He had to follow him to enjoy success. You got me? Michael Jordan may not be as polished as people want, and especially in the beginning, because he's got to work with the people and they go over some things. You got me? I'm telling you, but that's why Tony Romo, them guys were not great. He was good, but he had to follow the system, had to do the little things right.
That's why you hear sometimes when people say the best players don't make the best coaches.
Don't make the best coaches. I thought about something. Back in 1991, I had a pacemaker put in, and I couldn't coach for most of the year. Didn't coach the second half, and Southern didn't even consider giving me an assistant coach. And you know what I did? I took one of my players, a 20-year-old player, Errol Watts. I said, you're going to coach for me. I said, you know the game, you'll coach. And I said, we have some signals that I'll give you that we can go over. But for the most part, you're going to dictate the game. You're going to, we're going to make it happen. Okay, coach. I said, 1 for take, 2 for hit and run, 3 for steal. And I say, I'll say, hey, Errol, make sure the guy is doing what he's supposed to, and I'll give you the sign. We'll do a decoy. We do a decoy and give the sign. And we won the championship with that young man coaching third base for me.
Really?
So my point is, he was not the best player, but he was the smartest player I had. And there were other guys who were great players. I wouldn't dare put over that third base, because they're going to think people can do what they can do.
I remember you telling me, giving me a story before we get ready to go to break, as a basketball player, you said that coach had made a switch in the lineup, and you told coach in terms of to keep this kid's morale, and he just wanted to be a starter. And you said to keep the morale up, that coach needed to do that, and coach looked at you and kind of, thrown back a little bit because thought you wanted to be the starter that game.
Enabina, Mississippi, 1991. 71. Cold, wet day. All seemed like cold, wet days, huh? It was in Frankfort, Kentucky somewhere. And then we in Enabina, Mississippi. We're on the bus. It's muddy. Some guys out there walking. I'm on the bus with the coach and the trainer, Doc Williams, and the bus driver, Mr. Wilson. And Carl Emerson Seward said, I want to start you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
In Alphonse Jackson place, we used to call him AJ. I said, oh, coach, no, don't. I don't want to start. Let AJ start, because if he don't start, he's going to think he's a failure. He's not going to help the team. It doesn't matter with me. I said, I don't care about starting. And I blew the coach away. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
How many young people would not want to start? But I had an advantage that they didn't know.
What was that?
I grew up watching the Boston Celtics.
Mm.
John Havlicek was the best player. What did he do? Come off the bench. John Havlicek came off the bench. And I bought into that philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I said, this is all right. So, see, the coach didn't understand what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He think I'm thinking like all them other 18, 19-year-olds. You got me?
You were ahead of your time, coach.
I was ahead of my time. Ahead of him. It's thinking in that manner. So, so what he did, the ball went out with 2 seconds. The ball went out of play with 2 seconds off the clock in the game.
Mm-hmm.
He put me in the game. He said, and I was up shaking my head.
He started the guy for every bit of 2 seconds, then made the sub.
Then put the sub. It didn't matter. Listen, I was going to get my 15 minutes, sometime 20 minutes. I was going to get those minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, for me, I just wanted to play basketball and help the team. That's it.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't going nowhere. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
Even though people would say, man, you could go play pro. I didn't listen to that foolishness. I couldn't play dead when it came to pro.
Well, I got to listen to the people that's behind the camera. They said, we got to take a break, Coach, so let's get ready to do that. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hey, it's Jimmy Ott with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Politz uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Politz and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PolitzDentistry.com.
All right, everybody, we're back with more Choppin' It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and he is Roger Cador. Coach, you know, as we're going through this show today, it's just, you're talking about personalities, we're talking about broadcasting, but I think most of all, out of all of this, what I've taken is relationships matter. Regardless if it's somebody that you're working with or it's in a room where you're meeting somebody for the first time, how important is it for people to understand that relationships do matter?
Well, if you have good relationship with people, you go into those rooms, that's who's going to give you the job. If you got, you know, people want to hire people that they're comfortable with, that they can talk to, they know. And that's really what happens. So you can't act a fool and think you're going to go into a boardroom and get a job from some CEO. He's going to look at his people with relationship.
And that idea of first impressions matter, how you present yourself to somebody. How important was that, especially when you talk about relationships and presentation for you as a coach to your players over the years?
Well, I try to sell that it's hard to make a first impression on the second try. What is it? It's hard to make a first impression. I can't remember. I'm backward on it. But you got to do it on the first one, not on the second one. You know, and people go with that. They go a long ways with that. And you know, and a lot of my players, former players, have gotten job in Major League Baseball. Now, obviously, I did a selling job with them at a great time. Baseball was changing in the 90s and early 2000s. They needed more African Americans. And I had the people with relationship. And I got 10 of my former players hired who became scouts, and one became an international scouting director. One is a assistant farm director with Milwaukee now. And Ricky Weeks is obviously a manager with Milwaukee. And we got another one is with the Washington National. Has got a high-ranking position. And so, you know, they use the relationship I established and started helping them get into the doors, and they never let that door close behind them.
That's a beautiful thing, what you consider calling a pioneer. Somebody has to be that first, and then once you that first, you open the door. But then as the pioneer, you got to set the standard, let everybody know that, hey, things can be different. Don't judge a book by its cover. Let me come in, let me show you, and then bring some people along with me to pretty much assure you that it can be a difference.
The one thing we established with all those guys who got scouting jobs, don't forget about the next guy. Make sure you do a good job, and always be quick to recommend the next guy. And they live by that motto. We're gonna do a good job so the next guy can get a job, and then we'll keep it going. We'll keep that tree, the limb on the tree, growing. And it's been a great situation. You know, I talk about the first umpire to come from an HBCU. It's the guy I recommended. He played for me. And I called the guy and said, hey man, this guy calls all of my games for practice. He's got a chance. Can you get him a scholarship, baseball scholarship for the umpiring school? Guy said, it's a done deal. Gave him the scholarship, went to the umpiring school. 2 years later, he's calling games in the big leagues. We've sent guys in damn near every aspect of Major League Baseball somewhere. But you got to have the right people to do it.
And it started with one person, yourself, Coach Roger Cador. Let's stay on track right here. Let's take a break, everybody. When we come back on the other side, we get ready to close things out. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back more of Choppin' It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Hey, it's Jimmy I with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Police uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Police and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PoliceDentistry.com.
From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
All right, everybody, we're back more Choppin' It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and he's Roger Cador. He's the man playing the piano as you hear us coming into the coming in.
Only wish.
You know, Coach, you'll be headed over to Birmingham. The SWAC baseball tournament will start tomorrow on Wednesday, and people can check it out on the SWAC Digital Network on YouTube if you're looking to keep up with it. But when you look at the SWAC, the 2025 SWAC regular season champions came out to be Bethune-Cookman. So they entered the tournament as the #1 seed this year, going 24-5 in conference play. Florida A&M claimed the #2 seed, going 24-6 in SWAC, while Alabama State claimed the #3 seed, going 21-9 in the tournament, followed by UAPB winning 17 wins or more for the first time in conference play since 2009. They're the #4 seed. Grambling State comes in as the #5 seed at 18-11, and then Jackson State, the #6 seed at 16-12, who took on Southern, who was the next seed in the tournament this past weekend. Jackson State got the series victory over Southern at the end of the regular season, by the way. Southern and Texas Southern both claimed the final 2 tournament bid spots to get in as the 7th and the 8th seed. So tomorrow, game 1 is going to be #1 Bethune-Cookman taking on #8 Texas Southern. That first pitch is going to be at 9 a.m. Game 2 is going to be #2 seed Florida A&M taking on #seed Southern University. That's going to be a good one because both those teams played back at the Andre Dawson Invitational back in Vero Beach in Florida early to start the season off. Game 3 is going to be #3 Alabama State versus #6 seed Jackson State. Pitches at 3 o'clock, and then the round out for game 4 is going to be #4 seed UAPB taking on the #5 seed Grambling State Tigers at 6 p.m. Should be a very exciting day. 4 games lined up to start off SWAC baseball play.
Yeah, I should see the last 2 games. I get in at 1:30, so I'll see the last 2 games. Might see some of the 3rd games, Southern playing whoever.
Southern and FAMU, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I get in 130. It's going to be a little tough, so we'll see. But it ought to be interesting. UAPB, I'm happy to see them play. I want to see it. I want to see what they got going on over there.
First time UAPB has been in the SWAC baseball tournament since 2019. The most conference wins for them since 2009. So you're talking about a program under their first-year head coach headed in the right direction. They started out conference play with no wins, but since then, over against Division I opponents, of course, but since then, they kind of rolled and found some hot spots. They swept Southern this year up in Pine Bluff.
They're doing good. That's good to see. We like to see all the teams turn it around and make it an exciting, competitive tournament.
You look at Southern coming into this past weekend against Jackson State. They were one of the hottest teams in the conference after kind of staggering along the way. They were winners of 8 consecutive games, but then they come up against Jackson State on the road up in Jackson, Mississippi. And you and I talk about it all the time. It's Southern and Jackson. Throw out the records. It's just going to be tough no matter what. But Southern came out on the losing end to end its regular season, losing that series against Jackson. But your thoughts on Southern, Coach Crenshaw? He's got them into the tournament. They claim the final 2 seeds with Texas Southern. They got to do something, and it's going to be tough against number 2 seed FAMU.
Oh, yeah. They got good pitching, FAMU. And it'll be interesting. Chris does have the best talent when you look at it. Matter of fact, I got a call from a big-time writer, said that Thibodeau is being considered for the Dick Hauser Award. Ricky won that award. So, and he's the best player in the league, and he's going to get some votes to do something, because he's a good player.
And before we get ready to get out of here, Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M once again seem to be 1-2 since joining the conference from the MEAC.
They're a good team. They got pitching. They have pitching. That's why they're competitive.
Alabama State seems to always be in that conversation, too. And right there, they're the 3 seed, and you know Alabama State well, too.
Because they're going to get the kids out of Puerto Rico.
That's the truth behind it?
Well, that's why Bethune-Cookman, they're going to get the Puerto Rican kids. There are a lot of good players in Puerto Rico.
And man, you spend some
That's
time.
college.
You spend some time down there with MLB and watching MLB work in Central America and all across the Caribbean. And for everybody out there, man, look, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. If you didn't get a chance to catch us live, of course, you can go to Pelican Broadcast YouTube channel. You can go to Choppin It Up with Coach Roger Cador YouTube channel, or you can just catch us at another hour that we come on Pelican Sports TV. Regardless of the fact, there's multiple ways to go back and watch this show. And tell a friend, tell a family member, tell somebody about this episode and about this show, so you can be able to tune in to us each and every week. As myself, Perry White, and the Hall of Famer, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Roger Cador, brings you a world from a perspective of a Hall of Famer, a coach, a father, a husband, and so much more. It's wisdom, and I enjoy being able to sit down and have that conversation with him to get that wisdom out there to you, the viewing audience. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode, and we'll catch you next week. Stay tuned. We'll be back. More Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.